Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Guys, as we all know, we are a few days into the DV lottery results of 2025, and guys, as always, I am here to give you like some tips and some tricks that might come handy to you once you're going for your interview. And yes guys, I'm also going to tell you like some preparations to do prior to your interview. And guys, thank you guys so much for the feedback on the other video. I do appreciate. And guys, please keep pumping on the like button. Guys, honestly, thank you, I do appreciate it. And before getting into today's video, if you have not hit on that subscription button, please do me the honor of subscribing. So yes, I have some questions on my tablet, and I'm going to, from time to time, to looking on here to get those points. So yes guys, let's get straight into today's video. So we are first of all going to start with the preparations. Yes, when I mean preparations, how do you prepare to attend a DV lottery interview or a visa interview? Guys, the first thing on that list is making sure you know when your interview date is. The date, the time, and the place. Most of the times people get the dates mixed up, they get the time mixed up. Guys, please make sure once you win the lottery, when you're preparing for your interview, because I know some people already some people that won last year maybe preparing for their interview. So yes, so this video cuts across, like it touches everybody. So make sure you check the date, you make sure you check the time, and you make sure you check the location, so you don't get mixed up. And the next point is reviewing all documents by the US Embassy. It's the same like if you go to class and they give you an examination, you always have to review or you check the instructions. It is same thing once you're going for an interview. You have to check the instructions at the US Embassy. What are the instructions? And you make sure that you do your best to follow those instructions. The next point on my list, on one of the things to do when preparing for an interview, guys, is to retrieve all your documents. Documentations may include your marriage certificate, your passport, your work experience, your school certificate or documents, and all those things. Make sure you retrieve all those documents. You cannot go for an interview without all those documents, so you have to make sure you retrieve those documents. The next thing on that list is also making sure that you have like all photos. Because most of the times they always, especially like for these people that are going for, is it the marriage interview, also they always ask like for pictures. Pictures is like proof that you're actually in the relationship with this person. Yeah, proof that you're actually in a relationship with this person. You have to show all of those pictures showing that this is what happened on this day, this is what happened on that day. You need all those pictures to back everything you're saying up. The next point is making sure that you have printed out that confirmation letter that came with the DV lottery, saying you have won the DV lottery, and included in your documents. You need all that too. And then after submitting your DS260 form, the confirmation letter that comes, you make sure you keep that confirmation. And make sure you print out that confirmation letter and you go along with it. So now I'm taking you guys, this is the next phase of our video, which is me, like this is the main reason why I was making this video, is to tell you guys about the interview questions, or some of the questions you might possibly be asked. So this is it. The first thing about an interview, I always say, is appearing for that interview on time. If your interview is at 9:30, guys, please make sure you are there by 8:45. At least it gives you ample time to get into that environment. You settle down, you know where you're going to. That is, even if you miss whether it's your taxi, your cab, whatever it is, at least you can always catch up. You understand? You can always catch up and get there on time. Get there on time, so that you can settle in, so that, guys, at least all your documents are prepared. You can go through your things. Don't get there late and then you start rushing. Or don't get there late and then when they start calling for you, when they get to your number, they don't find you. It's not, I mean, like, it's gonna hurt you too if you win the DV lottery and then you're unable to take the interview. So please make sure you get there on time. And then another very pertinent thing I also want to talk about is, guys, make sure you go to your interview looking smart and decent. You cannot go to an interview looking raggedy, putting on how do you call it, putting on ripped jeans, piercings all over here and there. I know that some people say it doesn't matter, but I bet to differ, guys. Like I always say, like, your appearance speaks a lot about your person. So if you want to be addressed in the right manner, guys, please dress proper. Like even when you're going for a job interview, don't you dress proper? You dress proper, you know, you put on, I don't know, but to you dress the way decent is supposed to, because decent means different things to different people. But in a nutshell, dress decent, or better still, let me make it easy, but dress corporate, guys. Dress the way you want to be addressed, and that way it's also going to help you, because if you approach somebody, yes, they'll see how you dress and be like, hey, okay, fine, this person knows what they are doing, knows what they are saying. So that is another thing I also wanted to add into that. So now, guys, let's get into those questions proper. What are your educational qualifications? So if you're somebody who has, even though the minimum is the advanced level or high school, if you're somebody that has a master's or has a PhD, you can go ahead and put all of those in and tell them that, oh, you have a master's degree, you have this, you have that. But guys, just know for a fact that the least is a high school diploma. And for those who don't have like a high school diploma, as I said on the other video, your skilled level 2 is good. I mean, your proof of skilled level of at least 2 years of experience is going to back you up to greatly. So the next question is, where are you going to live once you move to the US? You can tell them, oh, you are going to live with your cousin who lives in Chicago, or who lives in Maryland. You get it's, most of the times they always want to know that you have like relative, or you know where you are going to stay at when you move to the States. They don't want you to come here and be stranded. That is why it is a must that when you're filling out your DS-260 form, you should have an address on that form stating that this is where you intend to live. Even if you change it down the line or so, that it's not their problem. But what they want to know is that on that form, you should have an address. And if they do ask you, you tell them that you're going to tell them the address that has been mentioned on your DS-260 form is the same thing, is the same address you should tell them. I just also want to mention something. Whatever you put on your DS-260 form, all that information is the same information that you have to give them once you go for your interview. You cannot say in your interview that you plan to live in Maryland, and then when you go for you cannot say on your DS-260 that you plan to live in Maryland, and then when you go for your interview, you said, oh, you plan to live in Chicago. It doesn't make sense, right? So whatever it is you have on your DS-260 form, make sure it's the same thing you have on your, it's the same thing. It's the same answers you're going to give once you go for your interview. And then another question they are going to ask is like, so what are your plans when you move to the US? So they asked me that, and I told them that, well, I intend to further my education. I intend to pursue a career in nursing. And yeah, I told them that, yes, I intend to pursue a career in nursing, and hopefully someday I become a registered nurse here in the States. Those were my plans. So yes, that is another question too, and that is another way you can answer it. And another question to the ask is like, have you been to the States before? So this, for people who have been to the States, you have to mention it on your DS-260 form that you've been to the States before. For people who have been deported, you also have to mention it that this is this, and you were in America in this day and time. Because if you don't mention it, guys, I've told you guys that they have everything in the system. They can backtrack everything, and they are going to know you're lying, and are going to know you were in the States. So please make sure you speak the truth. And this question might seem basic, but once you get to the kiosk, the first question they ask is like, what is your name? Yes, and you have to say your full names. Sometimes they even ask like your date of birth. You say like your date of birth. And they mostly ask basic questions. They really don't stress you guys when it comes to like the DV lottery. For myself and for what I experienced in Cameroon, like most of the people who play the DV lottery, they did not even ask them difficult questions. Their questions I've said on all my videos. DV lottery, like when it comes to Cameroon, their questions are straightforward. They don't stress you up. Like all these questions I'm asking, those questions I've picked here and there, but in Cameroon the questions were so simple. The only thing, as I said, the ask was like what I intend to do once I move to the States, where I intend to live, with who I intend to live with, and yeah, what are my future plans. And then they also ask about my educational background, which are basic questions that I think that almost anybody can answer. So if you're going for an interview, you don't have to panic. An interview in relation to the DV lottery and yeah, to the DV lottery, you don't have to panic. I also want to say that for the married people, your own interview is a different ball game. You have to know when you met your spouse. You guys have to have you guys ought to have the same story. Like, how did you meet? Who asked who out first? Who gave the first kiss? Who said the first I love you? All those questions they're gonna ask you for those who for couples. And if you're married, they're gonna ask you like, okay, where did you go for your honeymoon? If you guys had a honeymoon, where did you guys go for your honeymoon? How you guys met, and what year is your anniversary? What was the color of the dress your wife wore on the day you engaged her? Those are the kind of questions they're gonna ask you. So you have to really, really be detailed. And it's not all about saying, oh, my wife wore red. Once you say red, you say my wife wore red, and when I saw her that day, oh my god, she looks so beautiful. You have to talk with emotions, like she was dazzling. I could not wait to engage my then girlfriend to become my wife. Like, you have to throw in those emotions, because if you don't, guys, like, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, this one's you've just cooked up a story and you're coming to tell them. So married couples, you have to prepare, like, you really, really prepare, and have documents, have pictures, have lots of pictures to back everything up. Your pictures from when you started dating, your first date, your first this, your first that, pictures in the relationship. In fact, you need all of those, guys. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's not an easy thing, because I did witness one once, because when I was going for my own interview, like, there were some couples by my side that those were the questions they're bombarding them with. So guys, if you are married and you're doing this as a family, please be prepared. It is not easy at all. It isn't. Another question is, they also ask, like, how do you intend to support yourself in the state? You might tell them, you're coming to the state, you've already spoken. Before to come to the state, you've spoken with employers, and yes, you have like a job waiting for you. Or you can tell them, once you get directly into the state, you intend to apply in so and so place, so that you can start making money to support yourself. Another question is, where would you stay in the States? Stay in the US. I think we already touched that. Where you're gonna stay is what state you're gonna stay in. So in general, I'm gonna do like a recap of all the questions, because I know that in between all the questions I was talking. So I'm gonna do like a recap of all the questions, so the questions are clear. And so the first question is, as I said, it's a little bit, you might look at it to be too small. To actually, like, what are your names? What is your date of birth? Your qualifications? Yeah, your educational qualifications or work experience. They'll ask where you intend to live. They'll ask you because yes, they also ask if I pay to play the DV lottery. They're going to ask you that question too. And then another question too is they're also going to ask like where you intend to live, who you intend to live with, in what state you intend to live in, what you intend to do once you move to the States, like in terms of profession. I think that was it. And then they're also going to ask you if you've ever been to the States before. So those are some of the questions that you might possibly ask. And I believe that inside all of these questions, at least one of them must be in there that they're going to ask you. And then the last question too is, they're also going to ask, you have a family that you intend to sponsor? If they ask you that kind of a question, I always tell you guys on this channel, like, I might give you all the information, right? But you still have to do your research to at least have more flesh to the bone I am giving you, because I can just throw the bone, but I need you to do your research, gather flesh so that you can add to it. So yes, to answer that question, if you intend to sponsor your family, tell them yes. If you and your wife have made the arrangement, like, okay, fine, you're gonna go ahead, and then it comes back later, you'll be like, yes, you're going to go to the States, and you're gonna go there, you're going to go before your wife. You're going before your wife because you want to go and make sure that you settle in, you get things ready, and make sure you're financially stable before you can sponsor for them to come. You understand? You let them know that you intend to actually sponsor your wife or your family member once you're financially stable here in the States. So guys, pretty much those are the questions that are asked during the interview. And this is a tip: if you go for an interview, don't behave suspicious. I know that most of the times we become so scared, sometimes we tend to panic. I remember when I went for my own interview, like one of the girls in there, she had a panic attack. So meanwhile, there isn't really it's not difficult, guys. So don't panic, just be yourself. There's nothing difficult about it. If everything you put in the DS260 form is true, say it the way it is and tell them. I mean, just tell them whatever it is you put in the DS260 form. If everything is true, then you have no need to panic, guys. And for everything, know that they're going to verify it. If your marriage is a sham, as I said, they are going to know. So please, guys, make sure you tell the truth, okay, so that you don't get caught. And yeah, guys, when you go in there, if when you're talking to your interview or to, I mean to your, how do you even call a person that does interview? I don't know. When you're talking to whoever is interviewing you, guys, make sure you keep eye contact. Like I've become, even here in the States, like most of the times, even talking with people, somebody can't be talking. If I'm talking to you and then you're looking elsewhere, I feel like I'm not communicating with you. So I like when I'm talking with you and you're looking directly into my eyes. That is the way once you go for your interview, look them directly in the eye, have a conversation with them. That is the way it is. Not that they're talking, not that when they're talking, you're looking sideways. Look at them. It's business you came for. So attend to your business. And if you get lucky and you win, guys, you're going to be told to come back after a week to get your passport, because you're gonna, if you win, you're gonna keep your passport there, and they'll tell you in a week to come collect it. And once you come, you have the visa stamp has already been stamped in your passport, meaning that you've been accepted and your visa has been given to you. So yes, if you finally get accepted, we'll tell you to come in a week's time and collect the visa. And another thing, I also just want to make mention of the fact that this is something I suffered from. If you go for an interview, if you're preparing to go for an interview, guys, please make sure once you get into that embassy and you see your paperwork, make sure you check your names to make sure that they are correct, because I had to suffer that, and I stayed for 2 years without having a green card because my name had a mistake, and that was out of my own negligence, because so many opportunities were given to me to correct that name, but I didn't. So I'm telling you this information for free. Please make sure you check your name. And yes, guys, so to all those who are going for their interviews, or are, yeah, to all those who are preparing to go for interviews, guys, I wish you the best and the best of luck. It's just so easy. Just be yourself and everything will fall in place. And for those who are waiting for the results to come out, guys, my prayers are with you. And I pray that, yes, may the results favor so many of us this year. And yes, and I pray that this video helps you too. For all those who get selected, that this video helps you too. So, you can come join me here in the States. So thank you guys so much, and see you all on my next one. Bye.